Welcome to NEET Biology MCQs educational channel. Are you a NEET aspirant? Get ready to challenge your brain with high-quality MCQs based on the NCERT book. Sharpen your concepts, enhance application skills, and master assertion reasoning and statement-based questions. This is your ultimate MCQ power zone for NEET success. Why is the term phylum used in animal classification, while division is preferred in plant classification? A. Because plants do not have tissues or organs like animals do. B. Because early plant classification was based on artificial systems, while animals used natural systems. C. Due to historical and traditional usage in botanical and zoological nomenclature systems. D. Because animals have more complex organ systems than plants. Correct answer is C, due to historical and traditional usage in botanical and zoological nomenclature systems. Explanation. The correct answer is C because the distinction between using phylum for animals and division for plants is rooted in historical conventions established in zoological and botanical sciences, respectively. Zoologists adopted the term phylum early on to categorize major animal groups, whereas botanists traditionally used division for large plant groups. This difference is not based on any structural or biological dissimilarity between plants and animals, but rather on the traditions of taxonomic nomenclature. Option A is incorrect because both plants and animals possess tissues and organs, though their complexity differs. Option B is misleading. While plant classification did begin with artificial systems, this does not explain the current terminology. Option D is irrelevant here, as the naming convention is not determined by the complexity of organ systems. Which of the following correctly matches the term with its respective kingdom classification system? A. Phylum used in botany, division used in zoology. B. Phylum used in mycology, division used in virology. C. Phylum used for animal classification, division used for plant classification. D. Both terms are used interchangeably in all classifications. Correct answer. C. Phylum used for animal classification, division used for plant classification. Explanation. Option C is correct because the term phylum is reserved for major groupings in the animal kingdom, example phylum Arthropoda, while division is used in the plant kingdom, example division Pteridophyta. This taxonomic convention maintains clarity and consistency in scientific naming. Option A is incorrect because it reverses the actual usage of the terms. Option B is incorrect since mycology, study of fungi, and virology, study of viruses, do not conventionally use phylum or division in the same sense as animal or plant taxonomy. Option D is also wrong because these terms are not used interchangeably. They are context-specific and domain-dependent. Phylum is used for animals, example phylum Chordata, and division is used for plants, example division Bryophyta, in biological classification systems. This distinction aligns with standard practices in taxonomy. Assertion. A binomial nomenclature ensures that each species has a universally accepted name. Reason. The binomial system uses local and regional names of organisms to avoid confusion. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is the assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. The assertion is true because binomial nomenclature assigns each species a unique Latin or Latinized scientific name, which is recognized globally, preventing confusion across languages and regions. However, the reason is false since the binomial system specifically avoids local or regional names, which can vary widely and lead to ambiguity. Therefore, while the assertion stands, the reasoning behind it is incorrect. Assertion taxonomic hierarchy represents the sequence of categories from kingdom to species. Reason as we move higher in the hierarchy, organisms share more common characteristics. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is the assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. The assertion is correct as taxonomic hierarchy does indeed follow a descending order from kingdom to species. However, the reason is false because, contrary to the statement, organisms actually share fewer characteristics as we move to higher ranks like phylum and kingdom. The greatest number of shared traits occurs at the species and genus level. Therefore, the assertion is valid, but the reason does not support it and is incorrect. Assertion. The genus Panthera includes animals like lions and leopards. Reason. Members of the same genus share a recent common ancestor and exhibit similar morphological characteristics. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. The assertion is true because Panthera is a valid genus that includes lions, Panthera leo, and leopards, Panthera pardus. The reason is also true because taxonomic grouping at the genus level generally includes species that are morphologically similar and share a common evolutionary lineage. However, the reason does not directly explain why Panthera includes lions and leopards. It is a general statement about all genera, not specific to the genus Panthera. Hence, both statements are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion. Assertion. Identification is a prerequisite for nomenclature. Reason. Without correctly identifying an organism, we cannot assign it a proper scientific name. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. Both the assertion and reason are correct, and the reason clearly explains the assertion. Before an organism can be named under the binomial system, it must be correctly identified and classified based on diagnostic features. Without accurate identification, assigning a scientific name would be speculative and potentially misleading. Assertion. A family consists of several orders which share common characters. Reason. Our higher taxonomic ranks include organisms with fewer common characteristics. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is B. Assertion is false, reason is true. Explanation. The assertion is false because a family does not contain orders, it contains genera, and an order contains families. However, the reason is true. As we move to higher ranks in taxonomy, like order or phylum, the organisms grouped together share fewer traits. Hence, the reason stands, but the assertion is fundamentally flawed. Assertion: A. The species Solnum tuberosum and Solnum melongena belong to the same genus. Reason: Our genus includes species with fundamental morphological differences. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is the assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. The assertion is true because both Solnum tuberosum, potato, and Solnum melongena, brinjal, are indeed classified under the genus Solnum. However, the reason is false. A genus groups species that are morphologically and genetically similar, not fundamentally different. Therefore, while the assertion is correct, the reason directly contradicts taxonomic logic. Assertion: A. Animals like cats and dogs are placed in the same order, Carnivora, because they share similar structural and behavioral traits. Reason: Are in animals, classification is based on characteristics such as body structure, dentition, and evolutionary history, not on floral structures. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. Both the assertion and reason are correct. Cats and dogs are grouped under the same order Carnivora because they share physical features like sharp teeth for eating meat and similar body plans. The reason is also accurate and directly explains the assertion. Animal classification is based on anatomical and evolutionary features, not on floral, flower-related structures, which are only relevant in plant classification. Therefore, both statements are true and the reason correctly explains the assertion. Assertion in binomial nomenclature. The specific epithet starts with a capital letter. Reason, the generic name, and the specific epithet follow different capitalization rules. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is B. Assertion is false, reason is true. Explanation. The assertion is false because in binomial nomenclature, the generic name starts with a capital letter, while the specific epithet always begins with a lowercase letter. However, the reason correctly notes that the two parts follow different capitalization rules. Thus, although the assertion is incorrect, the reasoning itself is accurate. Assertion. Systematics includes identification, classification, and nomenclature. Reason systematics deals only with naming of organisms based on morphological features. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is the assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. The assertion is correct because systematics encompasses a broad approach that includes identification, classification, nomenclature, and also the study of evolutionary relationships. The reason is false since it restricts systematics to just naming based on morphology, ignoring its broader scope including phylogeny and evolutionary context. Hence, only the assertion is valid. Assertion. Taxonomic categories like genus, family, and order are abstract groupings with no real biological basis. Reason. Taxa represent distinct biological entities with real structural and functional traits. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. Explanation. The assertion is false because taxonomic categories are not abstract. They are based on real, observable biological characteristics such as morphology, genetics, and physiology. On the other hand, the reason is true. Taxa do represent concrete biological entities with shared traits, making it a sound justification that refutes the assertion. Assertion. A binomial nomenclature is used universally because it avoids the confusion caused by local names. It provides a standard method of naming organisms across different regions and languages. Reason. The two-word scientific name of an organism is based on Latin or is Latinized, with the first word indicating the genus and the second indicating the specific epithet. This structure makes it easier for scientists globally to communicate without ambiguity. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. Both the assertion and the reason are correct and logically connected. Binomial nomenclature provides a standardized naming system that avoids the variability of local names. The reason explains how the Latinized format, genus followed by specific epithet, achieves this universality and precision, facilitating clear communication among scientists worldwide. Assertion. As we move from species to kingdom in the taxonomic hierarchy, the number of shared features among organisms decreases. This makes classification at higher taxonomic levels more complex. Reason. In higher taxa such as phylum or kingdom, organisms may have only basic characteristics in common, and the diversity within each category increases significantly, making evolutionary relationships harder to trace. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. The assertion is correct because organisms grouped under higher categories like kingdom share fewer common traits than those at lower levels like species or genus. The reason accurately explains this trend by noting that broader categories encompass more diverse organisms with only fundamental similarities, making it the correct explanation. Assertion. Taxonomic studies are essential for understanding biodiversity and play a significant role in agriculture, industry, and environmental management. They help in identifying and classifying organisms based on observable features. Reason characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification form the core processes of taxonomy, which provides the foundation for applied biological sciences like ecology, biotechnology, and genetics. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option is D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation. Both the assertion and the reason are correct and directly related. Taxonomy's core processes, identification, naming, and classification, are foundational to biology and its practical applications. The reason accurately explains why taxonomy is essential for fields like agriculture and ecology, thus supporting the assertion fully. Assertion. The genus Solanum includes both Solanum tuberosum, potato, and Solanum melongena, brinjal, which are classified under the same family, Solanaceae. This is because they share multiple reproductive and vegetative traits. Reason. Families are defined by a greater number of shared characteristics than genera. Hence, members of a family exhibit more similarities than those in a genus. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is A. Assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. Assertion is true. Yes, both Solanum tuberosum, potato, and Solanum melongena, brinjal, belong to the genus Solanum, and hence, they naturally fall under the same family, Solanaceae. They share many vegetative and reproductive features that justify this classification. Reason is false. The reasoning given is scientifically incorrect. In biological taxonomy, genus is a lower and more specific category than family. That means members of a genus share more similarities than those merely in the same family. Families are broader, containing multiple genera. Therefore, the reason contradicts basic taxonomic hierarchy and is false. While the assertion is true, the reason is false. Hence, the correct answer is A. Assertion is true, reason is false. Assertion. The category, species, is the basic and most specific unit of classification. Members of a species show the highest level of similarity and can interbreed under natural conditions. Reason. A genus contains organisms that can also interbreed and produce fertile offspring, but the extent of similarity is slightly less than in a species. Therefore, genus is considered a more fundamental unit of classification than species. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct option. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation. The assertion is correct because species is indeed the most fundamental taxonomic unit, defined by the ability of its members to interbreed naturally and produce fertile offspring. The reason, however, is false, since interbreeding typically does not occur across different species within a genus. Furthermore, genus is a broader category than species and not more fundamental. Hence, only the assertion is valid. Which of the following statements about binomial nomenclature is correct? A. Both generic and specific epithets are written in capital letters. B. The scientific names of organisms are always written in the native language of their region. C. Binomial names are Latinized and when printed, written in italics. D. Specific epithet comes before the generic name in binomial nomenclature. Correct answer is C. Binomial names are Latinized and when printed, written in italics. Explanation. Option C is correct because the text clearly states that biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics, or underlined when handwritten, irrespective of their origin. This is to ensure universal understanding and consistency. Option A or 1 is incorrect because only the generic name starts with a capital letter. The specific epithet begins with a lowercase letter. Option B or 2 is incorrect as scientific names are not written in native languages to avoid regional confusion. Instead, Latin is universally adopted. Option D or 4 reverses the correct order. Binomial nomenclature starts with the generic name followed by the specific epithet. Which of the following statements best defines taxonomy? A. It is the naming of organisms based on local language. B. It refers to the distribution of organisms in habitats. C. It involves characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature of organisms. D. It is limited only to the identification of plant species. Correct answer is C. It involves characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature of organisms. Explanation. Taxonomy is a comprehensive process that includes all 4 essential components: characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature. Option A or 1 is incorrect because local naming is specifically mentioned as problematic due to regional variability. Option B or 2 is related to ecology or biogeography, not taxonomy. Option D or 4 is incorrect as taxonomy is not limited to plants. It applies to all living organisms, including animals and microorganisms. Identify the correct statement regarding systematics. A. It only refers to the naming of species. B. It includes identification, classification, and evolutionary relationships among organisms. C. It was not considered important before Linnaeus. D. Systematics is concerned only with external features of organisms. Correct answer is B. It includes identification, classification, and evolutionary relationships among organisms. Explanation. Systematics, as mentioned in the text, has a broader scope than just classification or nomenclature. It also incorporates evolutionary relationships, making option 2 correct. Option 1 is too narrow and overlooks the essence of systematics. Option 3 is factually incorrect because early humans did practice basic classification for survival, and Linnaeus only formalized it. Option 4 is invalid since modern systematics uses both external and internal features, as well as developmental and ecological data. Why is nomenclature essential in biology? A. To identify an organism's diet. B. To ensure that each organism has a unique, universally accepted name. C. To categorize organisms based only on their habitats. D. To allow naming based on common usage and tradition. Correct answer is B. to ensure that each organism has a unique, universally accepted name. Explanation. The process of nomenclature helps avoid confusion caused by local names, which may vary even within the same country. Option B or 2 is correct because it ensures a single, standardized scientific name is used across the world. Option A or 1 is not related to naming. Option C or 3 relates more to ecology than taxonomy. Option D or 4 is incorrect because naming based on common usage or tradition can lead to ambiguity, which is exactly what nomenclature aims to eliminate. Which of the following sets includes only valid scientific names as per the rules of binomial nomenclature? A. Panthera leo, Homo sapiens. B. Felis domestica, Canis familiaris. C. Panthera leo, Mangifera indica. D. Mangifera indica, Rosa indica. Correct answer is C. Panthera leo, Mangifera indica. Explanation. Option C or 3 follows all the binomial rules. Scientific names are Latinized, italicized, and written with the first letter of the genus capitalized and the specific epithet in lowercase. Option A or 1 is wrong due to incorrect capitalization. Homo sapiens should be Homo sapiens. Option B or 2 also incorrectly capitalizes the specific epithet, familiaris. Option D or 4 capitalizes the specific epithet, indica, and fails to italicize consistently. Match the biological terms with their correct descriptions. A. Taxonomy. 3. Naming, classification, and characterization. B. Systematics. 2. Evolutionary classification of organisms. C. Nomenclature. 1. Assigning standard scientific names. D. Identification. 4. Correctly recognizing and describing an organism. AA. 3. B2, C1, D4. BA1, B3, C4, D2. CA2, B1, C3, D4. DA3, B4, C2, D1. Correct answer is A. A3, B2, C1, D4. Explanation. Taxonomy includes the processes of naming, characterizing, identifying, and classifying organisms, so A3. Systematics involves taxonomy but also focuses on evolutionary relationships among organisms, hence B2. Nomenclature refers to assigning a scientific name to each known organism as per global codes, so C1. Identification is about recognizing the organism and correlating it with an existing name, thus D4. Match the examples with the correct taxonomic categories. Column 1, Examples. Column 2, Taxonomic category. A. Mango 1. Specific epithet. B. Mangifera 2. Binomial name. C. Indica 3. Common name. D. Mangifera indica 4. Genus. AA 3. B4. C1. D2. BA1. B3. C2. D4. CA4. B2. C3. D1. DA2. B1. C3. D4. Correct answer is A. A3, B4, C1, D2. Explanation. A. Mango is the common name 3. B. Mangifera is the genus name in binomial nomenclature 4. C. Indica is the specific epithet 1. D. Mangifera indica is the binomial scientific name 2. This aligns with the explanation of binomial structure and naming rules. Match the codes with their functions. Column I, Codes. Column 2, Function. A. ICBN 1. Two-part naming system. B. ICZN 2. Naming of plants. C. Binomial nomenclature 3. Naming of animals. D. Latin. 4. Universal language for scientific names. AA2, B3, C1, D4, BA3, B2, C4, D1, CA1, B4, C3, D2, DA4, B1, C2, D3. Correct answer is A. A2, B3, C1, D4. Explanation. ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, governs plant names. 2. ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, deals with animal naming. 3. Binomial nomenclature is a two-part naming system. 1. Latin is the universal language used for scientific names. 4. This question reinforces the globally accepted standards mentioned in the NCERT text. Match the terms with their correct examples, descriptions. Column 1, terms. Column 2, examples, descriptions. A. Generic name. 1. Indica. B. Specific epithet. 2. Mangifera. C. Complete scientific name. 3. Mangifera indica. D. Author citation. 4. Linn. AA2, B1, C3, D4, BA1, B2, C4, D3, CA3, B4, C1, D2, DA4, B3, C2, D1. Correct answer is A. A2, B1, C3, D4. Explanation. The generic name is the first part of the binomial name, Mangifera. 2. The specific epithet is the second part, Indica. 1. The full scientific name, Mangifera indica. 3. Linn. is the abbreviated form of Carl Linnaeus, who first described the species. 4. Match the contributors or historical contexts with their contributions. Column I. Column 2. A. Carolus Linnaeus. 1. Binomial nomenclature system. B. Systema Naturae. 2. Title of Linnaeus's major work. C. Early humans. 3. Classification based on utility. D. Modern taxonomy. 4. Uses developmental, cellular and ecological traits. AA1, B2, C3, D4, BA2, B1, C4, D3, CA3, B1, C2, D4, DA4, B3, C1, D2. Correct answer is A. A1, B2, C3, D4. Explanation. Carolus Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy and created the binomial system. 1. His book Systema Naturae formalized taxonomic hierarchy. 2. Early humans classified organisms based on usefulness, example, edible, medicinal. 3. Modern taxonomy considers internal features like cellular structure, embryology, and ecology. 4. This question ties together both historical evolution and current practices in classification.